UK job vacancies have fallen to their lowest level since the pandemic, with advertised roles dipping below 700,000 for the first time in over 4 years. Youth unemployment, meanwhile, is climbing and graduate opportunities are drying up and competition is intensifying. Is Britain's jobs market heading for an even deeper slowdown? I'm delighted now to speak with the independent statistician and the political commentator, Jamie Jenkins. Jamie, welcome to the show. I've got to say, brutal figures and particularly harsh on young people. Job vacancies down for graduates to below 10,000 for the first time since the records began here all the way back in 2016. It's bleak out there. It's just more proof that Labour isn't working.
Yeah, good afternoon, Martin. So, yeah, it's pretty bleak. And the vacancy figures that you're quoting there, and then if you look at the ONS figures as well on vacancies, they've been coming down in the last several months as well. And they went down quite sharply, obviously, during the pandemic when the economy was shut down. And then we did see a massive rise up to about 1.3 million vacancies as the pandemic was kind of coming to an end in terms of the restrictions and the furlough schemes, etc. But if you take the figures that we've got and then start tracking back, they're probably now at a level that we've seen about 10 years ago, the number of vacancies, when with the population and the economy obviously being a bit larger than what it was 10 years ago, that is a worry. And the big concern is the obviously the jobs tax and the national minimum wage increases that we've seen. And there's some evidence, obviously, for those more professional roles, not the hospitality roles, but those professional roles where AI could potentially be used to replace some roles. And we've seen cuts in hospitality, that those job entry roles for graduates, they are being badly hit here. And one of the things, Martin, we've seen as well in the last month or so is that youth unemployment has gone above the EU average when you compare the UK. Pretty much for the first time ever when you look at the figures that we've got there. So it's pretty bleak out there at the moment, in particular for young people.
Now, Jamie Jenkins, the thing I don't understand about this particular government is that nobody is in the room saying, lads, if you put up national insurance and if you put up the minimum wage for young people in particular, it probably means less young people, fewer young people will get hired. Are these decisions made in a kind of political bubble that seems to have little or no relevance to the real world?
Well, it's either a political bubble or sheer incompetence of the politicians. And the more I'm seeing, Martin, I'm going more into the incompetence conclusion because, you know, we've seen 85,000 fewer younger people now, 16 to 24, on the payroll when you look at the pay-as-you-earn tax jobs series there. And they announced that they were implementing basically a brand new policy, £1.5 billion they're looking to invest to create 50,000 apprenticeships. Now, it's cheaper to not cause the problem in the first place than try and fix the problem. And I think what the government needs to do is look to countries like Germany. So they've got one of the lowest, if not the lowest, youth unemployment rate in the European Union. And Japan's very low as well. And what they have, they basically, Martin, look at the education system and the job system as one, and they have a much smoother transition. And you think how many people go to university, they choose their degree, you know, they're getting first-class degrees, but there's no real thought process in terms of, well, what job am I going to go on to do with that? And I've seen people in recent weeks on some different media outlets with first-class degrees saying they've applied for hundreds of jobs and not getting a bite of a role there. So that's what we need to do, basically. We've probably got far too many going to university. You know, Tony Blair expanded all of that. Far too many going there. The other story is obviously on the student debt that's being built up. I mean, the radical rethink in terms of what we're doing.
Right, Jamie, we have to leave it there. It's always a pleasure. Jamie Jenkins, have your company. Thank you very, very much indeed. Now,